How good is God? How good is God? God is the best. The giver of life, the great Redeemer, your Creator loves you unconditionally. No matter how far astray you wander, no matter how many mistakes you make, God is waiting with open arms for you to return in a free will choice. Because God doesn't force, because love doesn't force. That's not love. And God is love. Most of us are carrying around shame and guilt and burdens, thinking that we're not worthy of God's love. So we turn our back on God, and then we convince ourselves that God's turned his back on us. No, we're just hiding in the garden. We live in paradise. There's fruit trees all around us. Everything we need, not just to survive, but to thrive. But do you believe that you deserve it? Do you want to partake in that? I do. I'm ready to clean up this mess, and it starts with cleaning up ourselves, examining our own hearts, our desires, our fears, our shame, dealing with it, holding each other's hands as we work through that process. It's painful, it's scary. That's growth. When your body's growing, when you're a kid, your bones are stretching, your skin is stretching. It's painful, but doesn't make it wrong. It makes it actually necessary. Right? And then you get big enough, you can finally reach that cookie jar yourself. Right? Cookies in paradise are really good. And God has delivered me from so many things. Saved me from myself. You know? I finally laid it all down. You know, I had to do that. But along the way, God gave me so much grace, so many opportunities to correct myself. Brought me people, brought me strangers when my friends turned their backs on me. And yes, I've turned my back on people too. So I'm not pointing fingers, I'm just stating facts. This is what we do to each other in our ignorance. Not because we're bad people, but because we're little children and we're growing up. We're evolving. We're stepping into our greatness, waking up to our majesty. Because we came from something majestic. That is our essence. But, you know, I've been delivered from, I used to cut myself. I used to burn myself. I starved myself. I struggled with all kinds of eating disorders because I felt I had no control over any other aspect of my life, but I could control what went into my body and what came out and when. And I felt powerful because I could do that, because it required strength and self-discipline and denial. It was empowering for me. It was just misapplied discipline. I was using my discipline to harm myself, to punish myself for not being perfect in the eyes of others. The thing is like, everything already is perfect. In the big picture, in the grand scheme of things, it's all perfect. But our misunderstanding of perfection is what gets in the way of goodness. We strive for our idea of perfect, and we mess up the perfection that already is, the perfection that God made. God's creation is perfect. And then we come along, and in our infancy, in our ignorance, we make a mess of our room. Then sometimes we have to go stand in the corner. You might call that purgatory. You might call that a dark night of the soul. We have to think about what we've done. Okay? And then we get to come out and try again. That's God's grace. That's God's mercy. The body is so miraculous. It heals itself. Okay, I have broken a femur. As a child at 5, I broke my femur, almost compound. The bone, I could see it coming through almost through my skin. I had to learn how to walk again. Okay, I have had to have spinal surgery. I had many years where I had almost no quality of life. I was throwing up all the time and nerve pain. I had tremors. I was in danger of becoming quadriplegic. God restored me. Okay, I had surgery. Yes, okay, but that is God moving through a man. Okay, to even be able to have the opportunity to find that doctor and have the resources to pay that doctor, that was all a gift from my Father. Okay, we don't get to take credit for that. We should be humble for that. Right? There's nothing I did to deserve that. That's just another opportunity I'm being given to get right and to get in the good and recognize the perfection of what God made. So, how good is God? God is the best. He is the goodest. And you come from that. So no matter what you're struggling with, just know that you can overcome it. You are made to overcome it. Because it's all just learning and growing so that you can grow up real big and tall and grab those cookies. The good cookies, the organic ones. And we do live in paradise. And it's time we recognize that. And it's time we humbled ourselves and recognize there's nothing we can make better than what God already made. And when we try to, we get in our own way and we get in trouble.